All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a challenge that, let's be honest, millions of us are living every single day, the constant juggle between work and caregiving. The old ideas about balance are completely broken. So we're going to unpack a whole new equation, one that might actually work for a more sustainable, more human future.
Does this sound a little too familiar? Yeah, this quote just hits you right where you live, doesn't it? It's that feeling, the blur of one task melting into the next, the constant multitasking. It's a world where the lines between your job and your home haven't just gotten fuzzy, they've totally vanished. It's that low-grade hum of pressure that starts before your day has even really begun.
And that right there, that's the heart of the problem. For decades, we've been sold this idea of balancing two different worlds, work and life, as if they're neat little boxes you can put on a scale. But for modern caregivers, that's just not reality. We're trying to solve a 21st century problem with a formula that's totally out of date.
Okay, so first up, the broken equation. Let's really dig into why this old formula just doesn't add up anymore, and who's really paying the price.
You know, the word caregiver is so much bigger than we usually think. This isn't just about working moms. It's about working fathers who are stepping up and totally redefining their roles. It's about the sandwich generation who are, completely squeezed between taking care of their kids and their aging parents. And it's also the HR leaders and the community advocates who are out there trying to build systems that actually support people. So really, this conversation is for everyone.
Next, let's talk about the emotional side of this. That huge invisible weight that so many caregivers are carrying around, often completely in silence.
This brings us to a huge concept, the mental load. It's that master to-do list that is running in your brain 24/7. It's remembering the doctor's appointments, paying the bills, planning the meals, knowing which kid needs what for school tomorrow. It's the non-stop, exhausting job of being the project manager for your entire family's life.
And right alongside the mental load is invisible labor. These are the actual tasks: wiping down the counter, folding that mountain of laundry, emptying the dishwasher for the 10th time. You know, all the stuff that just seems to magically get done until it doesn't, and that's the only time anyone notices. It's this 1-2 punch of thinking and doing that creates a totally relentless cycle. And the collective toll of all this is just staggering. So if you feel completely overwhelmed, I really want you to hear this. You are not alone, not even close. Data from the APA and Pew Research shows that a whopping 65% of caregivers report high levels of stress. This isn't a personal failure. It's a massive, widespread public health crisis.
But this weight, it's not just something we feel internally. It's made so much heavier by systemic barriers, real-world problems baked right into our culture and our workplaces.
And this right here shows a pretty stark reality, one that's rooted in some seriously old-school biases. Research from groups like McKinsey points to the motherhood penalty, where working moms are often seen as less committed, which can tank their pay and career opportunities. But at the same time, some studies show a fatherhood bonus, where dads are seen as more stable and responsible, sometimes even getting a pay raise. It is a powerful and deeply unfair double standard.
And all of this is piled on top of huge structural problems. You've got the childcare crisis. The costs are just astronomical and the wait lists are a mile long. You've got work cultures that still reward face time over actual results, treating flexibility like it's some special perk instead of a basic necessity. And then you have parental leave policies that are just decades behind where they need to be. These aren't just little hurdles, they are systemic walls.
Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom, I promise. The really good news is that families, caregivers, and some really smart companies are starting to push back. They're starting to completely redefine what success and balance even mean in the first place.
And that is the big question, isn't it? If the old model is busted, what does the new one actually look like? How do we get from just barely surviving to a place where we can actually thrive? The new equation, it's really about a huge mindset shift. It's about letting go of this myth of being the perfect parent and choosing to just be present instead. It's about realizing flexible work isn't a compromise, it's a lifeline. It's about finding joy not in some grand, perfect vacation, but in the little, messy micro moments that really matter. And, maybe most importantly, it's about building truly fair partnerships at home where all that mental and physical work is actually shared.
Okay, so for our last section, let's look at how we can start building this care-centered future for real. We're going to get practical here, with tools for you and for the organizations you work for.
Look, change can start small. Here are 3 little habits you can literally start today.
First, schedule tiny 5-minute micro breaks for yourself, just to breathe. Second, set real, clear boundaries, like a hard stop time at the end of your workday. And third, intentionally build your support crew. Find your allies at work and in your community. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, can do this stuff alone.
But these habits can't be the whole story. We need companies to step up too. And for employers, the solutions are actually pretty clear. Just imagine a workplace that offers real flexibility so you can get to that doctor's appointment without stress. A place that has benefits to help with a financial crush, and a culture where saying, "Hey, I have to leave for my kid's school play," is met with a "go, have fun," instead of a side-eye. That's a workplace where people can actually bring their whole selves to work and thrive.
And all of this leads to the biggest idea of all. It's a complete reframe of how we see care. For way too long, we've treated caregiving like it's a personal problem, a private struggle, or even something that holds the economy back. But the truth? A society that supports its caregivers is a society with a stronger, more resilient, and way more productive workforce. Care isn't a cost, it's an investment.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. What if we stopped seeing care as a problem we have to solve, and started seeing it as our greatest strength? What if building the world's best care system wasn't just a social good, but was actually the key to unlocking innovation, well-being, and prosperity for everyone? Now that's a future worth building.